Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome. It is another edition of Hard Facts, reaching you live from your number one talk station with 92.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 11 is come past 3 p.m. It's the midweek edition. It's Wednesday after all. And as usual, as happens with other editions, from now till 7, discussions are on. A major difference, however, and how you know it's a Wednesday edition, we've got Canvas and Niger Delta Roundtable coming up later on today by 4 p.m. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But I hope you've had a fine day so far. Things are working out, and you can see the sunny side of things in spite of the dark cloud that seems to be hovering at the moment. Well, if you don't like the dark cloud and you'd like to see some real sunshine, or feel it, you can do something about it. You can vote wisely in the coming general elections next month, February and March. Ensure to vote wisely. Use your PVC to determine a person to get to govern and manage your affairs, at least for the next 4 years or thereabouts. And not just the presidential election. That's important, no doubt about that. But it's not the only important election. All the elections are important. You keep screaming about rubber stamp House of Assemblies, honorables who can think for themselves. If you want honorables that can think for themselves and a legislature that truly serves the purpose of holding the executive accountable, then you must take that election serious as well, and that of the governorship as well, and that of the National Assembly, and of course the presidency. So take it more serious. Vote in person to believe have what it takes, have what it takes to make your life better. Not people who will give you rice today. That rice will not feed you up to a week, maybe even 2 days. All right, you have collected nothing, you have benefited nothing, you have gained absolutely nothing. Not even 10,000 naira, not 5,000, not 20,000 naira, not even 50,000 naira will suffice. You have benefited nothing, you have gained nothing. It's penny wise, pounds foolish. You collect rice now and you vote for a person. You collect seasoning cubes or oil, or you collect some money. You are of all people, of all persons, most miserable. And you will be the one to call Nigerian for every day. So you people should help us and tell them. You people should help us and tell them. You have a chance to tell them now. You're not going to do that. You collect rice. You collect rice, then you start disturbing people afterwards. Say you people should help us and tell them. You people should help us and tell them. We will not tell them anything anymore. Anyways, welcome. From now till 7, discussions are on. You're very welcome to join in via the usual platforms. We are live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. We're live on Twitter at Nigeria Info PH as well. Also, check out our YouTube page, Nigeria Info PH. Remember to like and follow these pages as appropriate so you can stay up to date with what's going on as far as the nation is concerned and the various discussions on the different shows on the station. You can join the conversation, watch live, listen live. Continue the conversation even after it's ended on radio. Catch up on what you may have missed as well. It's a brilliant place to be on. You're welcome again. From now till 7, discussions are on. Speaking of which, here's a preview of what to expect in today's edition of Hard Facts. Let's take a quick look at that. So I've got side comments coming up shortly, random stories and random thoughts. I've got a rant as well, something in my mind. I'll express some thoughts on it. I'd like to get your take and mine all the way till 4 p.m. For the side comment, remember, it doesn't matter if you call in to talk about it. I will not entertain that conversation. But after the 6 p.m. major news, I'll take your thoughts on my side comment and any other matters discussed on the show today, including my rant, by the way. So I'll take your thoughts on my rant till 4. Business news comes up at 4 p.m. Let's see what's up after that. Oh, yeah, I did give a hint earlier on. Oh, okay, maybe more than a hint. Canvas and Niger Delta Roundtable, sponsored by SPDC, comes up in the 4 o'clock hour today. Yep, one way to know it's another Wednesday. Just in case you didn't know, till 4 p.m. Still, discussions continue on the progressive development of the Niger Delta region. Today on the show, we're discussing a pursuit of quality university education in 2023. Yes, indeed. That's what we're discussing on the show today. My guest, Dr. Soye Penel Asawo, will join me for that conversation in the 4 o'clock hour. Yes, indeed. Our takes on till 5. The news update is up at 5 o'clock, as usual. Let's see. After that, January 31 remains D-Day. Oh yes, D-Day is still January 31. Unless the CBN insists or maintains that D-Day is January 31, and there's nothing changing that. Well, thus far, deadline remains January 31 for old narrow notes. That's according to the CBN. Story from the Punch. The CBN has insisted there is no going back on the January 31 deadline for the old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes, as they will cease to be legal tender in the country. The CBN Governor Emefiele reiterated the Apex Bank stance after the Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja on Tuesday. He insisted enough time had been given to Nigerians to swap their old narrow notes for new ones. Even though some Nigerians have been lamenting the unavailability and scarcity of the new notes, decrying that banks up till today were still giving out the old narrow notes to customers with a deadline only a few days away. Meanwhile, CBN, in its efforts to ensure that everyone is carried along, embarked on a cash swap program nationwide to enable those in the unbanked areas to exchange their old notes before the January 31 deadline, however, excluding Lagos and Abuja mobile money pointer sales operators from the program. We'll take a look at this. In what appears to be an ongoing series. We've been at this for a couple of weeks right now. Keep an eye on the situation with the CBN's deadline, D-Day, January 31. And I'll be asking you, are you ready for the CBN's January 31 deadline? Are you ready for D-Day? Are you prepared for it? Also, I'll be speaking with Michael Ogba. He's been consistent as far as taking a look at this situation is concerned. Michael Ogba is a CEO, Sitiamo Technology Limited. He'll join me for that conversation once again, this time around in the 5 o'clock hour. Headlines at 5:30 p.m. The major news comes up at 6. A recap of all the matters discussed on the show today comes up after that, till about 7. Well, the show wraps up then. A sports gangrene by 7 for extra time was the latest happenings, news making the rounds from the world of sports. Of course, all of this with a healthy dose of the Arsenal greatness. And my job's done for today. So that will be it. You're welcome to join the ride, by the way. We're at the usual platforms once again. So let's get things going now with today's side comments. Random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention as I checked out the news today. And for the umpteenth time, my side comments are not to be discussed now. Now here is a story that I came across earlier on today. It was quite disturbing when I read it. There has been an update on the story, and that featured on one of our more recent bulletins. But this was on the early morning bulletin. Coordinator of River State Response Team on Violence Against Women and Children, Tambari Dumka Kote, is still calling for the release of one Mr. Success Bassi, who was arrested by his former boss, a judge in a customary court in River State. By the way, why does it say a judge in a customary court in River State? Does the judge in the customary court not have a name? Does his customariness or magistrateness not have a name? I imagine the customary court judginess does have a name. Now, let's see. Dumka Kote called on the River State Commissioner of Police, Okon Bassi, the defender of rights, to respect the fundamental human rights of Success Bassi and release him to meet with his family. And here's a bit of what Dumka Kote had to say on this development.
Was tortured and hung, making him ill, and now, in regards to his right to freedom of movement, without regards to his right for fair hearing. It is very sad and pathetic. Despite the issues of torture, we want to call on the River State Commissioner of Police to respect the fundamental rights of Mr. Success Bassi, who is still being detained at the State CID Port Harcourt, and order the immediate and unconditional release of this detained man to his family.
Now, Dumka Kote said civil society in the state will take legal actions 48 hours in 48 hours if the River State Police Command fails to release Success Bassi. He also criticized the judicial officer for being involved in a process that contravenes the law.
We are still calling on the Commissioner of Police River State to unconditionally order the release of this man. We don't know the type of investigation that will take 50 days. The man is being tortured, he's almost paralyzed. And we expected that by now, with our official report to the police would have commenced proper investigation into this incident of torture and bringing the person's head culpable to book. And we are expecting that this will be done within the next 48 hours, after which, if nothing is done, we shall have no option than to take it the civil society way, but which must be very legally.
Now, you might remember Anefon Bassi, wife of the detained man, on 19th December 2022, narrated how her husband left him for his menial job on the 5th of December, but never returned him until she got a call from his co-worker that the husband had been detained at the Miniokoro Police Division. Let's take a listen to what the wife had to say back then on the matter as well.
Deeper life pastor, bright demand. Then my husband packed it, people come. They come pack his property. Now I come arrest my husband. I begin to find my husband from station to station. See my husband for Minokoro station. They don't beat my husband. My husband nowhere. They don't turn my husband upside down. I cry for everybody, make everybody help me. I want to make my husband come back. And now I get Bella, my small baby. There's no food for us to eat.
Okay, like I said, obviously it's a very sad story thus far, but there's been some development, some updates to this, and here's the update. A father of one, Success Bassi, says he has been released from the state CID Port Harcourt, where he had been detained for several weeks. Success Bassi said he was allegedly tortured, while in detention, and said he had resigned from his job as a driver before a robbery case occurred at his employee's house at Amity Estate in Port Harcourt. Let's into that also.
Just arrest me at the NPA. Took me to Minokoro police station. Asked me whether I know one Mr. Bright Demwa, a River State judge. I say I know. They say who is him? I say he was my former boss. They say I should go and bring his cars where I kept the car. Armed robber entered his house, break the house and carry the car keys and took us away from the man. I was crying. Since the day I stopped that work, I've never go around Mr. Bright Demwa. They now torture me, beat me.
Okay, all right. I have a few things to say about this. Obviously, that's why I bothered to read the news item and play back the sound clips. However, I have a commercial break coming up right now. So I'll go for that commercial break. And when I return, I'll express some thoughts on this development as part of today's side comments. And I'll return. We will. Just stick around. Had Frank to be back in a moment.
You are tuned in to 92.3 Nigeria.
with Dio.
And welcome back. Still had to Nigeria Info. I'm Dio. 27 gone past 3 p.m. Discussions continue with today's side comments. Now, before I went on the break, I read out some news items. Coordinator of Rivers State Response Team on Violence Against Women and Children, Tumbari Dumka Kote, is calling for the release of one Success Bassi, who was arrested by his former boss, a judge in a customary court in Rivers State. Dumka Kote called on the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Okon Effiong, to respect the fundamental rights of Success Bassi and release him to meet with his family. Just let's take a quick listen to that once again.
Was tortured and hung, making him ill, and now, in regards to his right to freedom of movement, without regards to his right for fair hearing. It is very sad and pathetic. Despite the issues of torture, we want to call on the Rivers State Commissioner of Police to respect the fundamental rights of Mr. Success Bassi, who is still being detained at the State CID Port Harcourt, and order the immediate and unconditional release of this detained man to his family.
Now, under any circumstances, this would be a terrible situation. Supposedly, I mean, if the reports are anything to go by, what makes it even worse? And you would think that this couldn't possibly get worse, but it could, of course. We have a way of making things worse in these parts. You know, what makes it worse for me is that reportedly a judicial officer is involved here on the wrong side. Allegedly, as reported, that a judge in a customary court is involved in this. Now, Dumka Kote criticized the judicial officer for being involved in the process that contravenes the law.
We are still calling on the Commissioner of Police Rivers State to unconditionally order the release of this man. We don't know the type of investigation that will take 50 days.
50 days. 50 days. The Nigerian Police Force Rivers State Command was investigating.
Man is being tortured, is almost paralyzed. And we expected that by now, with our official report to the police would have commenced proper investigation into this.
Maybe they were waiting for him to get blood sugar. Remember blood sugar? Yeah. Maybe this was supposed to be a case of blood sugar. But luckily for him, for Success Bassi, he did not get blood sugar.
This incident of torture and bringing the person's head, call people to book. And we are expecting that this will be done within the next 48 hours, after which, if nothing is done, we shall have no option than to take it the civil society way, but which must be very legally.
His wife had a few words, or some words, late last year when this incident reportedly first happened.
Deeper life pastor, bright demand. Then my husband packed it, people come. They come pack his property. Now I come arrest my husband. I begin to find my husband from station to station. See my husband for Okoro station. Don't beat my husband. My husband nowhere. They don't turn my husband upside down. I cry for everybody, make everybody help me. I want to make my husband come back. And now I get Bella, my small baby. There's no food for us to eat.
Now, I don't know who robbed who or who's committed a crime, but we have processes. We are a nation of laws. And obviously, allegedly, torturing a person, turning the person upside down or beating the person up cannot be a way of investigating an alleged crime. Cannot be a way of getting information because it is even illegal. It's not right. And if you do arrest the person, you have to take the person to court in about 24 or 48 hours. Well, reportedly, this fellow was held for about 50 days. And reportedly at the instance of a judge in a customary court. Something about maybe him being a pastor as well. Possibly, I suppose. Well, once again, update on the matter. He's been released, and after he was detained for several weeks, he said he was tortured while in detention. And here's what he had to say again.
Just arrest me at the NPA. Took me to Minokoro police station. Asked me whether I know one Mr. Bright Demwa, a Rivers State judge. I said I know. They say,
okay, but let's pause there for a bit. The judginess or magistrateness, Mr. Bright Demwa, I think, yes, the civil society group has been calling on the CP to release him, and that's a good thing. But I think that the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Honorable Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi, needs to come in to investigate this matter as well. The judiciary needs to look into this also to see if this judge of the customary court, Mr. Bright Demois, did anything that contravenes the law here. I think that needs to be investigated as well. I'm not determining that he did, but I'm saying that proper investigations need to be carried out to determine who may have erred, who did what, who did wrong. If a person was held for 50 days in violation of his rights, that needs to be investigated. It's not enough to just release him and say we have released him now. The man has been released now. That's not justice. That's not fairness. That's not equity. The man says he was beaten. The man says he was tortured. That needs to be investigated by the police, by the judiciary, to find out what role their judicial officer may have played in what appears to be an illegality. That needs to be investigated thoroughly, for that matter.
His team, I say he was my former boss. They say I should go and bring his cars where I kept the car. Armed robber entered his house, break the house and carry the car keys and took us away from the man. I was crying. Since the day I stopped that work, I've never go around Mr. Bright Demois. They now torture me, beat me, all kind of beating, every day hanking. People that be arrested that time, they know I'm passing through. Every night hanking.
So, once again, it's not enough that this man has been released. It's not enough. He was denied his liberty for 50 days, and based on, you heard the man himself, he says he was beaten. He says every night he was tortured. That needs to be investigated. And if truly he was beaten and he was tortured, there are consequences for that. It's not enough because he's just, who is he? Who is he now? Who does he know? Does he have anybody? Does he know any honorable or excellency? After all, he has been released. So, and I know some people might even be so outlandish to say, the man should thank God though. Should just be thanking God. They should go. If I should go to church for Thanksgiving, he should just be thanking God and leave it in the hands of God. Leave what in the hands of God? This is no way to build any society. This is no way for people to live. So once again, I hope that the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, CP Okon Effiong, who by the way was dubbed the Protector of Rights, will look into this and ensure that justice is served. If there are any officers, and I suspect that there are, who erred in process and in law, they must be brought to book. And I believe that the police can investigate even judges also, or judicial officers. And the judiciary in Rivers State, I'm also calling as well on Honorable Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi, Chief Judge Rivers State, to look into this as well. If a judicial officer has erred or has played any role in what appears to be an illegality as well, or a circumvention of due process, then that judicial officer must be brought to book also. Must be brought to book as well. Once again, it's not enough that he has been released. And I hope nobody is telling him to leave it in God's hands. I should be thanking his God. Thanking his God for what? Alright, let's see. What else caught my attention on the news today? The Rivers State Civil Society Organization in Rivers State has issued a 2-week ultimatum to the Department of State Security Services, DSS, to meet with NNPC to fix the petrol crisis in the state. Chairman of the organization, Edafa George Will, spoke to our correspondent shortly after a warning protest in Port Harcourt and accused the NNPC of selling petrol to private depots, which has led to a hike in the price of petrol and more economic hardships for Rivers people. Well, I don't know if this protest is going to accomplish much. Nothing wrong with, Nigerians expressing their thoughts via protest. Of course, peaceful one. They have a right to do so. The Constitution grants them the right to do so. I hope that the Rivers State Police Command will not start getting intelligence reports, because when Nigerians want to express their opinions or reservations or displeasure with a government policy or government action or inaction, that's when intelligence reports start flying left, right, center. That's when intelligence reports starts to rain from the sky. And if you step out of your house, you will see intelligence report all over, littering the entire place. in the drain. In fact, the intelligence report will start clogging drainages, blocking gutters and drainages. That's how rampant and rife intelligence report becomes. That hoodlums will take over, and there's a plan to circumvent and disrupt the peace that we are enjoying in Rivers State. But when cultists want to strike and other things, we won't get intelligence report then. Usually we don't get intelligence then. However, this 2-week ultimatum given to the DSS, I don't know if that's going to be of any effect as well, because the DSS seem to have some problems with ultimatums. Remember the ultimatum that the DSS gave to the NNPC Limited and marketers as well. How long was that ultimatum? Can someone help me out with that, please? And when was it? Via WhatsApp on 0809 030 6416. Can someone help me with that information, please? How long was that ultimatum? I think I have the story. It was it was 48 hours. Wow, 48 hours. I'm seeing the headlines here. DSS gives NNPC oil marketers 48 hours to end petrol scarcity. The DSS gave them a 48-hour ultimatum. This was in December 8th, by the way. December 8th. I think the clock or the watch of the DSS must be broken. Otherwise, they would realize that the 48 hours ultimatum given to NNPC Limited and the oil marketers has expired since December last year. But maybe the clock is broken, and it's no longer working very well. So if the DSS does not realize that a 48-hour ultimatum it issued since December last year has expired, I don't know have been fixed yet at the DSS office. So they may not even realize when the 2-week ultimatum has expired. So anyways. Let's see. What else caught my attention on the news today before wrapping up today's side comments? Let's see. Quick look. All right. So let's see. What else was there? Oh, lots of political stuff. The PDP G5 led by Governor Wike still haven't decided who. I thought come on, Your Excellency, by now. We've been waiting for this announcement. Your Excellency, you promised us you were going to announce which presidential candidate you were going to be supporting. Why? We can't take this anymore. This pressure is getting to us. The pressure is getting to us, really. Who is the presidential candidate the G5 will support in the coming presidential election? The governor said that PDP in the state will continue to campaign for the 2023 elections without reference to any presidential candidate because none has reached an understanding with the state PDP to end their support. The governor said this at the PDP event in Boni local government area. Let's take a listen to what His Excellency had to say on this. Where is it? Oh my, just a moment. 01. Oh my. Okay, here we go. I hope it's the right one. Okay.
What is more important first is our state, PDP, Rivers State. We are taking the governorship, we are taking the senatorial, we are taking the House of Assembly. Back to the election we are doing, and also, these are the people who told me to come and campaign. Nobody told me to go campaign for us. I'm not going to force myself to go campaign for you. When you never tell me, so.
We can't take it anymore, really. I mean, we were waiting. We were desperately waiting for this, and we've been waiting for the announcement for a while now. The suspense is killing us, really. When is this announcement going to be made? And is any announcement going to be made at all? Should we keep waiting, or should we simply forget about this and move on with our lives? It would be nice if Your Excellency would keep us updated on this situation, because once again, the suspense is killing, really. The suspense is killing. And I think I'll leave the side comment on that note. But via WhatsApp, I got a message from Emmanuel going, people don't know how governance works. The DSS is working towards making that report open to the public. Oh, I see. I totally get it now. So I go for a break. When I return, today's round comes up. Please stay with us.
There are times in life where we don't get to choose what family you're born into, how many hours we have in a day.
Welcome back. It is Hard Factor Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt, the number one talk station. I'm Dio. We got 7 for like to run for Doctor. I've got something in my mind of expressing some thoughts in it. Mind getting your take on mine to 4 o'clock. And today's rant is directed primarily, well, to everyone, but primarily at the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, CP Okon Effiong, the defender of rights, CP Okon Effiong. And you know, the police is our friend, so we have to keep helping the police in whatever way we possibly can. And I'm all for that. I'm all for helping the police and providing the police with intelligence reports. And that's why I took it upon myself to tell his CPness today that issuing orders alone is not enough. CP Okon Effiong, I'd like to help you, sir, to make your job easier. I'd like for the job of the Nigeria Police Force, Rivers State Command, or the police force in the entire country, for their job to be a whole lot easier. Your CPness, it seems that it's been a while that you have been a senior police officer in the Nigeria Police Force, and you seem to have forgotten how things work with your boys, your children. The junior officers, your CPness, they don't respond to orders like that. Let me put it in a different way. I think your CPness assumes or is under the impression that when you issue orders as the police commissioner in Rivers State, that your boys will just automatically receive the orders and then start to implement the orders. No, your CPness. It doesn't work that way. No. Because you might remember that even the IG himself, even the IG of police, when he issues orders, we have encountered police officers who, in the first instance, appear to not even have any idea or any knowledge of the order that has been given by the IG. And even when such orders are brought to their attention, on a couple of occasions, we've had police officers ask us to go and call the IG. A junior officer asking us to go and call the IG, that even the IG cannot tell him that. So if the IG cannot tell them that or issue orders and they would simply obey those orders or work with those directives, CP, I think that you may not be up to speed with what's going on, really. And speaking of issuing orders and directives, here is the latest one by CP Okon Effiong. Rivers State Commissioner of Police Okon Effiong has ordered the immediate arrest of vigilante groups carrying firearms in any part of the state. CP Effiong gave this directive in a statement by the spokesperson of the command, Grace Iringekoko. He directed DPOs to arrest anyone seen with firearms within their jurisdiction, adding that the ban on the use of firearms by vigilante groups is still in force. The directive comes following reports that some vigilante members in Diebu axis of Port Harcourt are bearing firearms in broad daylight. The statement also cautioned vigilante groups against arresting and detaining people. Your CPness, this is not news. That vigilante, the story goes, the directive comes following reports that some vigilante members are bearing fire. The whole world knew this already. This is not intelligence. We all knew this. And that's why I always say it's so alarming and amazing that in Nigeria that everybody knows something is going on. Everybody else knows. The only people who don't know are the ones whose job it is to know. That is why they are paid salaries, to know that particular thing. But somehow, miraculously, they have no idea. Meanwhile, literally everybody else knows. Is the River State Police Command saying that they've not been aware that all of this while, months, for years now, vigilante groups in River State have been bearing firearms. Some of the more notable ones bear firearms. Were they not aware? Didn't they get intelligence reports on this before now? The kind of intelligence report they will get when law-abiding citizens want to embark on peaceful protests or rallies, because the thing with the firearms, and even though it's illegal, it's been a thing for a while. We all know that they bear firearms. We see them around every day on some of the highways. We see them. If you're going from one community to another where they put up their roadblocks and all of that, we see them with the firearms, with the pump action, and in some cases with other calibers, rifles as well. We see them. We all know this. However, better late than never. But CP, the point of this once again is to not think that because you have issued this directive, then your boys will start to implement it. It doesn't work like that, CP. It doesn't. Because sometimes it might not be surprising that DPO is even sitting down and chilling with them, chilling with those big boys, when they're the vigilante boys, when they're with their firearms. And some of your boys are even sitting down with them right now. Some of your boys are with them now, where they are with the vigilante people with their firearms, and they could be smoking something or drinking something right now as we speak. So CP, this is a good directive. This is a good initiative from your office, but you have to do a lot more to ensure its implementation. That's the point of this rant, by the way. A lot more needs to be done, because CP, if you are thinking that because you have issued directive and your boys will just hear the directive and then comply with the directive, CP doesn't always work like that. Doesn't always work like that. So something else, whatever it is that the police needs to do, or whatever other mechanism you need to put in place to ensure this brilliant directive is enforced and effected, you need to put it in place. But directive alone does not work on your boys, and you should know this. They are your children after all, and they are afraid. I perceive. Let's take on your children. You should know them better. Thanks for listening. Hope you both. Line 0700 923 093. 0700 923 093. We're live on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. We're live on Twitter at Nigeria Info PH as well. Once again, your thoughts are welcomed on my rant at this time. Call 0700 923 093. Hello, Hot Fact, you're welcome. Please go on.
Hello there, good afternoon.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, let us hear from River State from Patagon. See, now, the River State Commissioner of Police was in classic FM this morning. So something cropped up like that. He said, based on what he explained, he have two squads. Forgotten the name what he gave them. I believe if those squads are doing what they're supposed to be doing, many things will be set.
Fire the Vigilante, Ospank, Omoku, Aspak, Akpo, Dibu Vigilante, and so many. Printer Geoffrey Nwike goes, it's a welcome development. A vigilante is not among the armed forces, so they don't have the license to bear firearms. Of course they don't have the license to bear firearms. We all know this, but it doesn't stop them from bearing them anyway. Hello, hard fight to welcome. Please go on.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Go ahead, please.
This issue is not a new thing. As you know, during the time when they declare amnesty, I was even saying that this thing they have done like this is going to generate to water issues. And now the boys are carrying guns, and everybody is watching, the security are watching. When there's going to be a revolution again, don't be surprised that it will be the boys and the military men. Thank you. My name is Bernard calling.
All right, great to hear from you also.
Are you up to date with ideas?
Pardon me, still taking your contributions on my rants thus far. That's the line still open. Hello, Hard Fight to welcome. Please go on. Hard Fight to welcome. You're live on radio. Go ahead, please. Good afternoon. The irony of it all is that in my community, before police will go for any arrest, they will come and collaborate with those park members. They say they're coming to them for protection against bad boys. It's laughable. That's from Rollins. But some time ago we saw pictures of vigilante that rescued kidnapped policemen, and the policeman was thanking him. All right. Let's see. Good afternoon, Dio. For some time now, not heard. Okay, moving on. Once again, join me via facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH, via Twitter as well, at NigeriaInfoPH. Hard fight to welcome, please go on. (90.3), hello, you're welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Go ahead, please.
This issue of these people carrying firearms, they don't need it directly. Those people are there. They carry it now. Carry it. Come to Rumolumene. I want to remain anonymous. Come to Rumolumene. They are there. These are people come there. They are there. Like 4 or 5. They all have their gun in their hand. They empound people, can empound anything. Just come to Rumolumene Community Center. That is where they keep everything they empound. There are people like police. They just come with the road. Somebody has a encounter with them. They said that person will get their car with 80,000. So they empound that person car, keep it inside that community center, say that 80,000 naira before they release that person car. The car is still in that community center.
Good to hear from you, sir. But I must go for that commercial break. And I hope the police got this intelligence report. This is intelligence report. Stick around. I'll be back in a bit.
Rivers people, we go do